Hi, YouTube. It's Angela. Today, we're going to do an energy reading on conflict and, um, how to adapt to it or how to respond to it, whether this is an external conflict that's going on with another or something that's going on within you. Okay. So this week, I'm reading oracles from this deck, the Urban Crow. Love this deck. And then also clarifying with Zen tarot cards. The first card we pulled is battle. This is that conflict we're talking about. Where in your life do you have opposing forces? Either with another, you may butt heads with someone at work, like all the time, or this could be within you, these opposing forces. This is internal or external. It could be someone that, energetically or physically or actually intrudes your space and comes into your space, crosses boundaries, and that creates a defensiveness in you. But this, whatever this, or it could be something within you that's battling, back and forth in your mind. The one thing about this card that we notice is that all these birds here on the wire are kind of taking a back seat. They're kind of waiting to see how it'll play out. So for you in particular, for whatever comes to mind for you when we talk about a conflict like this, it may be a situation where you don't have a lot of support in the arena, right? Like in the battle, there may be people take a back seat. They may not want to get involved. This could also be your higher self, literally your higher self, kind of taking a step back to observe whatever's going on within you, if this is an internal conflict. So a few different ways to interpret that, but the core of it is that there's conflict, there's a back and forth or an unwillingness to budge going on, and how do I respond to that? The Zen cards that I pulled just really clarify and drive home the point that this could be external or internal. I got projections. This is that someone else putting their needs upon you and expecting, an outcome according to the way they see it, or yourself as well. You could be the one projecting, and this is this conflict or this argument is all your fault, or that kind of a back and forth. So that kind of talks about the awareness of what are we really arguing about here? Is this a power play? Is this a judgment coming from someone else or from ourselves? And then the other card I pulled with that is mind. This is indicating that for some of you, that battle, whatever that is going on within you. And you may be going, yes, no, stop, go, not quite sure of how to proceed. We could go deeper, but I think that you guys get it. I think you get that either of those situations leaves you kind of defenseless and not really in a empowered state to come and address this conflict in an appropriate way. This is just for you to observe and create an awareness around what is this battle about, right? Am I creating this within me? Is someone else kind of throwing me into the ring that I don't even want to go there? Or is it something that I'm actively participating in on purpose, right? So just to assess that conflict and where it's coming from. The next card I pulled is exposed. This is that feeling of vulnerability. This is the little young baby bird being completely vulnerable to attack, right? It's part of our path, right? We create vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities allows us to expose deeper feelings, maybe some fears that we have, and bring them out into the open so that we can manage them and do away with them. But in the midst of this feeling of vulnerability, it doesn't feel great, right? It's a matter of allowing for something to reveal itself in the heels of this battle. So this is either something external, some solution that may come about while, others sit back and kind of watch it play out. Or it could also be, if this is an internal battle, this could be, oh yeah, I tapped into this deep-seated fear I've always had, and this battle is just stemming from that. Or this could go really deep if we wanted it to. So just keeping attention to that energy, that state of vulnerability that we can all be in when we're feeling defenseless or feeling like we're in this struggle that we didn't ask for, or even we're in this struggle that we created, right? It creates this sense of vulnerability, which is a good thing, right? The Zen cards I pulled, we don't want to ever say, oh, it's good to be vulnerable, but really allowing your vulnerability to surface and doing a little dance with it and giving it air and being able to call awareness to it is the start of transformation, right? We can't really change or grow or deepen into any practice without that vulnerability. I pulled receptivity to go with that. So this is that energy of allowing all the things that are surrounding us according to this battle, allowing them to be present, allowing the misinterpretations with another without having to defend it or tell them they're wrong, allowing for your own inner conflict to be there, because you realize that's the way I sort things out. When this is called to my attention that I wanted things to work one way, but I'm actually showing up in another way, how do I resolve that, right? It's the beginning of the transformation, and staying open as much as you can is key here. But this is also a connection to the divine, kind of an energy where you see all that light. There's this figure in the middle, and she's receiving the energy coming through her crown, but also it goes down into the deeper waters of her emotions. So it's really almost a cleansing, but being able to receive what solutions might be there, what root cause of these conflicts might want to be exposed, and being able to sit with it and be with it, leading to a better understanding of the situation. You and the other, or you and you, right? This is internal, are never really separated. We tend to create barriers with others. Oh, they see it differently. They are the other, right? They see it differently than me, so they must not be aligned with me. Well, a lot of that's an illusion, right? These bars that separate those doves are an illusion, and they're actually fading up here, and then there's an opening that is created by the result of that receptivity. It started with your vulnerability, with the feeling of being exposed, and then you allow yourself to go deeper into that. Both of these cards are water, are emotion, are feelings, and how we feel in relation to this conflict or this state of exposure and being maybe even a fear of being seen as vulnerable. But going deeper than that will probably help you transform it, because the way things appear, and I may appear vulnerable, but the truth is, like we said before, that leads to our change. The vulnerability leads to change. It must occur in order for us to kind of feel inspired to shift that change and get a deeper understanding and make that shift. One thing that we want to pay attention to as well when we're in conflict is our level of resistance. This one kind of hits home for me. I'm I'm working on it, but I do feel this card a lot. If you think about it, this is just friction. You're creating friction by not being able to move deeper, right? Be with the vulnerability, stay with the deeper emotions that are triggered from it. The resistance card is a reminder that the friction's going to be there. I mean, it was there from the start. That's what this battle is. And how do we want to move in response to any friction or conflict that, or contrast that shows up? How do we want to move? If you observe the birds, flying in the air with a big gust of wind coming, it doesn't knock them to the ground, right? They may get thrown off a little bit on their path and stumble for a minute, but always they adapt. They shift their position. They change the position of their wings. They lower themselves a little or raise themselves a little, right? To move with the wind, with the change, with the shifts. And this is reminding you that you have that same ability to respond with your energy in a more non-resistant way, in a way that creates the flow that you're seeking to move past whatever this battle, whatever this conflict is. And then the Zen cards I got with that resistance card are the miser. This is all resistance right here. She's hanging on to all that she knows, to all her riches, her jewels, right? Energetically, she's kind of clinging to, I'm right. I know that I'm right here, and clinging to that concept to the point where if you see this wall being built, slowly over time, it create, having that resistance within your spirit creates a blockage, and this wall is being built and it's right around her heart chakra. It's about to close off, her heart center because of needing to hold in place, needing to dig my feet in that battle, or needing to exert myself to create change instead of adapting to the change that's already there and moving with it. So this is just a reminder for you to pay attention to what you're clinging to in this situation. And then we get another emotion card, and this one is of ease, letting go. Let go of the resistance. Resistance is futile, right? But it isn't a pushing away. It's not letting go of it and having it disappear by pushing it away. That's just more resistance, right? This is allowing for it to play out, whatever that is, whatever realization you're coming upon after being exposed, after your vulnerability came. Let that play out. Let the feelings arise and be out in the open. Even if this is just a personal journey you're taking, this doesn't have to be your feelings towards someone or letting them, this could just be your own realization of what deeper feelings are triggered or exposed as a result of this conflict. And then being willing to let them be, let them pool up there on the lily pad or on the leaf, let the feelings be there, and then they will fall and release in their own time as you become more aligned within. This next card I love because this is kind of an active guidance as to what do we do, what if this happens again? What can I do? Or, this was a big whopper. This conflict was huge. And I don't know if I have what it takes to go through that again if it happens again, right? So the card I got is preparation. This is a wonderful story that the author of this deck tells, how living up in Seattle, and there's the sound, there's the ferry that comes, takes you to the island and back to the mainland. She observes the crows when the ferry is crossing the channel and coming into the sound and getting ready to hit the dock, and the people and their cars and everything are offloading. The crows prepare for their arrival by grabbing up clamshells and placing them on the dock so that when the cars come out, this is fascinating. And she's observed this. This is brilliant. When the cars come out, they crack the shells and the clams are exposed, and the crows get dinner. They get their snack. They know the cars are coming. They prepare by laying them all out. And then when the cars roll over it, they have a feast. I love this. And this is your own energy and your own calling to sort of, get your ducks in a row, or your clams in a row, preparing you for another occurrence. Or if you go into level 2 of this battle, just making sure you have your alignment, making sure your energies are in the proper positioning to create the best outcome for you in the face of another wave of battle, or even post conflict. Even if this is something that was internal and you brought it to the surface and you resolved it, now you have a stronger foundation in which to prepare for another uprising that goes on within you. You're learning piece by piece, clam by clam, that you can sort of set the table for whatever may come in the future. Then I want to emphasize too, in none of these readings do I ever want you to feel like these are the steps to take and then your problems will be solved. It's not like that. It doesn't go that way. This is just sort of peeling new layers from within you that give you a clearer understanding of your place in the universe as it relates to your whole timeline of experience, the things you want to achieve in the future, right? The connections you've made. This is just reorganizing that and making sure you're fully aligned in that knowledge that all will be well. I can endure any battle and make it out alive and aligned. And it's really up to me and the steps that I take and how I choose to respond and not react, not, get all into the, kerfuffle, but respond. How do I want to respond? Usually that is a little bit of a pulling away, regaining your alignment, being able to observe and assess, kind of like the crows on the wire there. That's your higher self doing that work. And then shifting your response so that if or when this kind of a situation arises again, you're a little more prepared. And then you go through it again and you become a little more prepared for the next one, right? None of this is a one and done. It's all a process. But I love this preparation card. I love that story of how they line those clams up. They're like, here, you do the work for us and we'll have the feast, because they know what to do to make it easier on them. And then with that preparation card, I pulled integration, and that's that same kind of a vibe. It's taking all that you know, all that you've learned. It's taking your inner being and your external persona and, your past and your possible future and your present and the people around you, and making it all part of the whole, right? Making it every ingredient that goes into the recipe for you to be able to prepare to move forward with growth. And then I got the adventure card, one of my favorites, we know, and this is coming out of the darkness, really, into that rainbow world. That little child is in the forest and in the darkness, but going toward that rainbow light because, wow, look how beautiful it looks over there. And not with apprehension, it's with eagerness, even though she has no idea what to expect. She doesn't know what's in that rainbow light. It's the future. It's the next part of her path. But being willing to take that path and move toward it with eagerness instead of fear and resistance, like we had in that last card. And then our final set of cards, we start with the Oracle card of growth. This is your path of growth, coming from battle into a more personal, a higher level of experiencing your world from your soul's perspective. This is kind of, it tells the story in the author's voice, that when the babies of the baby crows are ready to fly from the nest, the adults get a little more aggressive and a little more vocal, like let's go, like kind of egging them on to get, this is it, this is what you have to do. And almost short of like pushing them out of the nest, right? It's that energy that's drumming up of the change is here and it's time to step into it, right? Coming from that battle, we had our vulnerability, we alerted ourselves to where we're resistant, and then we decided to prepare for the next phase and what's coming next. And this is just asking you to focus your energy on this upcoming change, and or something that follows that change, which the battle kind of brought about, focusing toward the next steps on your path. It can also mean, really knowing, like if it's in your external world, this could be like, gaining a new skill, a new way to communicate with your coworkers if the problem is at work, that can open doors to a better, more easeful experience with others. Or also, if this battle that we originally talked about was something that was internal within you, then this growth indicates your new understanding of what triggers me, and how far do I take it when I get triggered, and let me find a way to prepare and align myself so that the next time I'm seeing growth, I'm seeing a new way of addressing this issue. Okay. And then the Zen cards that go with that one are awesome. I got Beyond Illusion. This is the card of transformation, and it's the card of, well, it's got a lot. It's got, an intuitive angle to it, being able to pay attention to what your inner being says, following that guidance as you move along your growth path. And also the Beyond Illusion is showing that the growth is upon you. The change is, you've set the table for these changes in order to find new ways to address old issues. And at the same time, you really have no idea. It's kind of like this little girl. You have no idea what's to come. That like the caterpillar doesn't have any idea it's going to become a butterfly. It just goes, it adapts, and it moves with what it's given, and that's what's created from it. So it's staying open and staying in wonder about how these shifts you've made can really affect your life and really bring you to a higher perspective. And then the final Zen card to go with that is success. And this is just being able to look back and see what you've achieved and how you can not do away with conflict, because that's a little bit much to ask, but to realize that you can develop other ways to meet conflict when it arrives. Sometimes you may want to just let it arrive and kind of walk away. I'm not going to engage in that. Or raise your vibration a little bit, address it from another perspective. But either way, whatever way you choose to transform your relationship to conflict, you can really sort of take a moment to pause with it and really acknowledge your success there. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple more cards. I'm pulling from this deck. It's called Relax deck. It's, talks about different focuses you can pull up during a meditation or during your your sessions of envisioning, into your future, or even just presencing into the moment. So we're going to pull, well, I pulled this card is the Mermaid. And this is, it says on the back, we often feel trapped within the routines of our everyday lives. Really? That, is that what our battles are about sometimes? And this is just calling to make time for leisure, balance, allowing yourself to swim with the flow and be in the beauty that's always around you, and making sure that you're almost scheduling time for enjoyment, time for not following anyone's protocol, not following through on your own expectations, but just taking a breather and going with the flow that's present. And then let me just pull, yeah, I got one Zen card came right up that says, yeah, this is it. Experiencing. That's that same vibe. It's like nothing is really existing except this very moment. And that figure, as she walks through the forest, is engaging with the tree in a way that maybe she doesn't usually do, because she's taking the time to presence into the moment and be with the tree. The tree's actually kind of hugging her, and she's not just observing the tree, she's with that moment of the tree's path as well, experiencing it deeply. And that's what we need to remember to do, is take time out for us to just be. That gives you a sense of, a fuller vessel of your own inner being that may aid you the next time you come upon conflict, whether it's arising from within you or from an external source. But that balancing of allowing yourself time to just be, no agenda, no achievements, no goals. This could be, a half hour a day that you set aside for yourself. This could be a full weekend day where no one, or a full midweek day, whatever, where no one gets to, cross your boundary or intrude your space, and it's all your time. So good lesson for all of us. And hopefully it reduces the level of resistance that you experience when conflict arises like that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys soon.